What if I told you that the secret weapon of the wealthiest people on the planet is looking like they have absolutely nothing? Sounds completely backwards, right? Because everything we've been taught tells us that success looks like a designer watch, a luxury car, and a wardrobe that screams money. But here's the uncomfortable truth that most financially free people already know, and they are never going to advertise it. Looking poor might be the single most powerful financial decision you ever make. Stick around because by the end of this video, I'm going to completely rewire the way you think about money, status, and wealth. But before we get into all of that, if this kind of content speaks to you, if you're tired of the same recycled advice about getting rich, and you want real talk about building genuine financial security, hit that subscribe button right now. We drop videos every week that challenge the mainstream money narrative and help you think differently about your finances. Now let's get into it. Let's start with something that might genuinely shock you. Studies have repeatedly shown that a significant portion of actual millionaires, people with a net worth exceeding $1 million, do not look the part. They drive used cars. They shop at regular grocery stores. They wear ordinary clothing. They live in modest homes in average neighborhoods. This isn't accidental. This isn't because they can't afford better. It's because somewhere along the way, they figured out something that most people spending themselves into debt never learn. The appearance of wealth and actual wealth are not just different things. They are often completely opposite forces working against each other. Think about it this way. Every dollar you spend performing wealth is a dollar that isn't growing for you. Every luxury purchase made to impress people, every upgrade bought because you finally feel like you deserve it, every status symbol acquired to signal your arrival, all of that money is gone. It's working for someone else now. Meanwhile, the person who drove a 10-year-old Honda to that same luxury car dealership, who just smiled and drove away, that person went home and put the difference into an investment account, where it started multiplying quietly and invisibly. This is what I call the invisibility advantage, and it's one of the most underrated concepts in personal finance. Now let me give you some real-world context here because I don't want this to feel abstract. Warren Buffett is one of the most famous examples of this principle in action. The man is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, and he still lives in the same house he purchased in Omaha, Nebraska, back in 1958 for around $31,000. He drives himself to work. He eats at McDonald's. He doesn't have a yacht. He doesn't have a private island. For a long time, he didn't even have a fancy office setup. And yet, he is arguably the most successful investors in human history. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's just who he is. That's his personality. But that's exactly the point. The habits that built his wealth are inseparable from the lifestyle choices that look poor to outside observers. You cannot separate the frugality from the fortune. They are the same thing, and Buffett is far from alone. Ingvar Kamprad, the founder of IKEA, one of the most successful retail empires ever built, was known for flying economy class, driving old cars, and shopping at flea markets well into his billionaire years. The man built a company worth tens of billions and still reused tea bags. That's not poverty. That's discipline wearing the costume of simplicity. Mark Zuckerberg famously wore the same gray t-shirt and jeans almost every single day for years. His reasoning? He didn't want to waste mental energy on decisions that didn't matter. But there's a deeper financial philosophy embedded in that choice too. When you stop spending energy and money on appearance management, you free up both resources for things that actually generate returns. So let's talk about the actual financial math here because this is where it gets really interesting and where most people's eyes start to open. Imagine two people. Both earn $80,000 a year. Person A lives to look successful. They lease a luxury car, they wear designer clothes, they eat at upscale restaurants, they take the lavish vacation. After all their lifestyle spending, they're saving maybe 5% of their income, which is $4,000 a year. Person B earns the same $80,000 but lives modestly. They drive a reliable used car, they cook at home most nights, they find joy in free and low-cost experiences. They save 30% of their income, which is $24,000 a year. After 20 years, assuming average investment returns, Person A has accumulated somewhere around $150,000. Person B has accumulated well over $1 million. Same income. Completely different outcomes. The only variable is the willingness to look ordinary while quietly building something extraordinary. This is the mathematical reality behind what researchers call the millionaire next door phenomenon. The idea that true wealth is accumulation, not display. That the people who look rich are often the ones who are most financially fragile, while the people who look average are quietly sitting on life-changing levels of financial security. And this matters beyond just the numbers because there's a psychological freedom that comes with not being trapped by your own image. When you don't need to perform wealth, you make better decisions. You don't feel pressure to upgrade your car because your neighbor did. You don't feel obligated to book the expensive vacation because your social media feed made you feel left behind. You stop making financial decisions based on fear and ego, and you start making them based on actual values and long-term thinking. Let me talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough in these conversations: the social cost of looking wealthy. When people know you have money or they perceive that you do, the dynamic of every relationship shifts. Family members start expecting things. Friends subtly change how they treat you. Strangers make assumptions. People ask for loans. People feel entitled to your resources. Businesses charge you more. The moment you signal wealth, you become a target, socially and economically. But when you look ordinary, you move through the world with a kind of protective invisibility. Nobody's trying to get a piece of something they don't know exists. You can have real relationships built on genuine connection rather than transactional interest. You can negotiate better prices because people don't assume you can afford to pay premium. There's an actual social and economic advantage to not broadcasting your financial position. Now, I want to address something, because I know some of you are thinking it. Doesn't this feel like lying? Doesn't pretending to be poor when you're not feel inauthentic? And I want to push back on that framing hard. There's nothing inauthentic about not wearing your bank balance on your sleeve. Most genuinely wealthy people would tell you that their real identity has nothing to do with what they own. They find their sense of self in what they create, in their relationships, in their growth, in their purpose. The performance of wealth is actually the inauthentic thing. It's constructing an image to manage other people's perceptions of you. Living simply is the more honest version of success. And this connects to something really important about the habits themselves. The habits that make people rich are not separate from the habits of living simply. They are the same habits. Delayed gratification, prioritizing future security over present pleasure, saying no to good things so you can say yes to great things. These mindsets don't turn off the moment someone hits a financial milestone. They're ongoing practices that compound over time just like the money does. There's a concept in behavioral economics called hedonic adaptation. It's the well-documented tendency for humans to quickly return to a baseline level of happiness, regardless of what they acquire. You buy the new car, and within a few months, it's just your car. You upgrade your house, and within a year, it's just where you live. The thrill fades almost immediately, but the financial consequences last for years. The millionaires who understand this stop chasing purchases as a source of satisfaction, and instead find sustainable joy in things that cost very little. That shift in psychology is both the result of wealth-building habits and the fuel that keeps those habits going. Let me give you a practical framework for how to start applying this in your own life, because I don't want this to just be theoretical. The first step is to do an honest audit of your spending. Look at every purchase you made in the last 3 months and ask yourself a simple question. Did I buy this because I genuinely wanted or needed it? Or did I buy it to signal something to someone else? You might be surprised how often the answer is the second one. Social media has made this harder than ever because we are constantly surrounded by curated images of other people's highlight reels, and our brains interpret that as social pressure to keep up. The second step is to redefine what success looks like for you personally, not for your Instagram followers, not for your family at Thanksgiving dinner, not for your coworkers, for you. What does genuine security feel like? What would it mean to have full control over your time? What experiences actually fill you up rather than just looking impressive to others? When you have answers to those questions, spending aligned with your values becomes automatic, and spending on appearances becomes obviously unnecessary. The third step is to make your money invisible by putting it somewhere it can grow. Automate your savings. Max out tax-advantaged accounts. Invest consistently regardless of market conditions. The beauty of money you never see in your checking account is that you can't spend it on impulse, and you can't be tempted to use it to fund a lifestyle that doesn't actually serve you. The fourth step is to find a community that reinforces the right values. This is underestimated but powerful. The people around us shape our financial behavior more than almost anything else. If everyone in your social circle is competing on consumption, you will feel constant pressure to compete too. Finding even one or two people who are genuinely committed to building wealth quietly will reinforce your own resolve and make the whole journey feel less isolating. Now, I want to bring this home with one final thought that I think is the most important thing I'll say in this entire video. The reason looking poor matters isn't really about money at all, it's about freedom. When you stop spending to impress, when you stop letting your ego dictate your financial decisions, when you stop confusing the appearance of success with the substance of it, you start accumulating something that money can eventually buy, but that most people spend their entire lives without. Options. The freedom to say no to work you hate. The freedom to take risks because you have a cushion beneath you. The freedom to give generously without it hurting. The freedom to spend your time exactly as you choose. That's what financial security actually buys, and the price of admission is the willingness to look ordinary for long enough to get there. The real flex isn't the car in the driveway. It's the number on the brokerage statement that nobody else can see. It's the ability to walk away from anything that doesn't serve you because you built something quietly and patiently while everyone else was busy looking rich. So next time you feel the pull to upgrade, to show off, to spend in a way that sends a signal, pause for just a moment and ask yourself which version of your future self would be prouder. The one who looked wealthy while staying broke, or the one who looked ordinary while becoming genuinely free? The answer to that question might just change everything. If this video gave you something to think about, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, because we've got a lot more of this kind of content coming your way. I'll see you in the next one.